Do you want us to do that again for the recording, Monica?
No, you don't want to.
We've officially opened a public hearing. We had a vote to do that. And so we have a proposed special warrant article, and I will turn this over to Chad.
Okay, the purpose of tonight's meeting is to have a public hearing with the select board, related to a special town meeting that is necessary due to, the expiration potentially of one grant, one principal forgiveness, loan. And the portion of the money that the town has to do, this is for, water system upgrades. This includes, basically a continuation from the intake reconstruction that happened a while ago. And this involves the distribution lines and the lead remediation down in town. The lead remediation, I think, needs no explanation. I mean, basically, there's lead in the pipes, and I think in 20 of the services to the homes. So that's something that we did receive a $700,000 grant for. And the distribution center is basically changing the method that the water is delivered to the users, because currently the water comes from the intake and the lake and goes into the distribution center in town and then backflows into the tank. And the only time the tank turns over is when pressure is modified in the lower section and has to make up the difference, which is creating a stagnation issue in the tank. So these are both projects that then were merged by the state and are required for us to do. And basically, the reason for the special meeting is to affirm that we would like to accept the $700,000 grant, the $1.457 million SRF loan, which will be 100% forgiven. And then the town has to match with $690,000. So this must go to the voters of the town and be approved in order for us to accept these funds. And if we do not pass this article before the end of September, we will then be ultimately having to foot this bill on our own. So that's the gist of it. So the warrant article reads, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $2.94 million gross budget for the purpose of financing water system improvements, to authorize the issuance of not more than $690,000 of bonds or notes in accordance with the provisions of the Municipal Finance Act, to fund costs of the project, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to issue and negotiate such bonds or notes, and to determine the term of borrowing, to authorize town officials to apply for, obtain, accept, and expend federal, that's EPA congressional direct spending, state and or grant monies, and or state revolving fund principal forgiveness in respect of the project, to use such monies to finance the project, reduce the amount of bonds or notes issued for the project, to prepay such bonds or notes, or to pay debt service on such bonds or notes, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to take any other action to pass any other vote relative thereto. At last Tuesday's Budget Committee meeting, the Budget Committee voted 8-0 to move this forward to the next phase, which is the Select Board, and the Select Board tonight, if they so choose, will approve this article to move it to the special town meeting, which will be on September 24th, and then there will be a deliberative session, a standard deliberative session on August 24th for the purpose of this vote.
Okay. So I'll let you have Chad.
Yeah, I mean, I can answer, I have
Yeah.
more to say, so like, how much do you want me to, I mean, I don't know if everybody's tired and you need a little sleep aid.
Are there any questions at this time? Mike?
I realize it's up to the select board to negotiate the terms of the bond on the 690. But do we have just a rough idea of how many years is available? Are these 5-year notes, 10-year notes, 20-year notes?
The expectation is they'll be between 20 and 30 in order to keep the expense annually to a place where 200 users are gonna be able to pay, because the users pay the operation costs.
Right.
The town is responsible for the entire water system, but that will be included in the rates. One of the things that I didn't mention in the intro is that the currently the water system is running at a deficit. And that we're going to be modifying rates regardless of this to include that. And then one of the things that once we get to the correct rate adjustment, the state will then be willing to likely forgive more of the loan, which will then lower the payment on the one side. So when we borrow the money, we'll end up maybe in a little better position than we anticipate, but we have to consider the worst case scenario at this time.
Chet? Sorry, the breakdown on the grant, that's a federal grant and the forgiveness is from the state.
Forgiveness is 1.457 million and the grant is 700,000.
But the federal is the 700.
Yes.
And one.
Oh, no, the federal is 1.47.
Yeah.
And the state is $780,000.
Okay. Thank you.
Mike,
Two questions. Do you have the sources and uses for the proposed 690? In other words, what is your purpose? I mean, there's a full project. The full project is something like $3 million or something under that. So do you have a breakout of what is being spent, what it's being spent on? And do you have a breakout of all the other sources other than the 690,000?
We have it broken out, and then I wish Mike was here, Mike Duffy was here for it.
He's coming to the deliberative.
He'll be at the
session.
deliberative session, so basically we have it broken up into 2 projects.
Because the one project is 100% covered, all of the money that's the 690 and the 1.457 go to the distribution project, that's where it all is.
In the past, the project included about 8 components. And the question I'm asking is, what other sources of funding is going into those total components? And the reason I'm asking is because you got $308,000 in November of 2022. That was basically the loss coverage money from ARPA for municipalities that originally was supposed to go on the project. So again, I'm asking, could I get a sources and uses?
Right now, the anticipated thing is gonna be around $200,000 we have coming from that ARPA funding.
And the other 108 is what?
The other 108, well, first of all, it's a 200 of the 690 is what's part of this project. ARPA has been used for other purposes in town to this point for upgrades and things like that.
Has it been used on water and sewer?
No. Well, yeah, it actually has. It was used,
Some portion of it,
portion of it was used on
Yeah.
water and sewer, but I'd have to go back and get you the numbers for what that was.
I'm gonna say about 85,000 spent so far.
Yeah,
Again, then in that case, could I still ask for the sources and uses of the total project? And what money should use from what accounts, state loans and all the rest?
we can provide that.
And I'd ask that you distribute or somebody distribute to the other members of the budget committee.
Okay.
But our first portion of the project, we were under budget. So we had a significant amount of money left over from that first loan. I think it was $240,000. And part of that was for the engineering for the 2 new projects. So Duffy's basically 80% done with
Yeah,
that.
we have a
Well, yeah.
spreadsheet that was done by Verizon for this,
Yeah.
so we,
I still like to look at it. And the
Yeah.
reason I'm asking, John, is because in the pro formas I gave you back in 2022, before I left, there was an application, the second round of the ARPA money for municipalities was due to come in 22. It did not come in before I left, but I know it came in after I left, and I know it went into the water and sewer project, and I know what happened to it after. Okay, so what I'm asking is, I'd like to see what the overall sources and uses were, because it was cash out of the sewer, out of the water account, the water sewer account. And there was the first loan that came in, that was part of it. So that's what I'm looking for, is the sources and uses. And the only thing I'm looking for is to try to get as much money, make sure as much money as possible, other than increasing rates for water and sewer, is utilized to pay for the project. I'm fully in favor of the project. but I
I
am,
think Chad has
Curious.
answered that, though. He said he would provide it to the budget.
and
committee to
again,
have
if you
an
could give it to the
inventory
budget
section.
committee.
Yeah, we will do that. And yeah, because we have the full breakdown. We actually just,
Yeah, no,
we done it
Ryan
about
just
3
did it.
weeks ago. We
Yeah.
did the last one. So we have that complete breakout.
And you made a comment about raising the rates regardless because of your over budget or,
Shortfalls in the fund.
yeah, so is that due to, less revenue coming in from fees, and is it a short time?
So I'm not sure that that's part of this. We're discussing. we're
I
not
agree.
gonna carry
So-
forward our article. I don't really want to go down that
Okay.
rabbit hole again. When we have the meeting where we discuss that, we welcome you to come and ask those questions then.
I didn't raise it, I just asking about it because he raised it, I'm fine with waiting.
All right, Tom, you had a question?
I may be going in an area you don't want to get into tonight, but I just, the water and sewer system in the village is an attractive opportunity for economic development. So I'm just curious, and maybe tonight's not the appropriate night, but I'm just curious about what and I recognize this is a number that's not necessarily going to be written in stone tonight or in the next little while. But I'm just curious about what you sort of see as the percentage of increase you talked about. Obviously, there are bonds that are going to have to be paid back by water rates. There's apparently a deficit that needs to be made up. And I'm just curious about the impact as the Economic Development Committee goes out to promote this asset. You know, I want to be careful about what we're not overselling.
We will have full information on what that is, provided to the public here shortly. So we want to revisit some of the work that we've done right now, but it's now going to become all public, and we're going to put it up on the website, send it to the budget committee. We will get you all that information.
Great, and frankly, Chet, it would be helpful if you would perhaps come to one of our, we meet second and fourth Mondays.
I was
When you
planning to
have,
be there Monday.
I'm sorry?
I'm planning to be there Monday.
Oh, great, great.
We actually, I got an invitation, and I say invitation, but she's gonna grab me by the ear and drag me over.
Well, we hope we don't have to drag it by you. You're
I'm just
welcome.
kidding.
I know. You're welcome at any of our meetings, but I think it would be helpful as we're looking at
Yep.
trying to promote the village and particularly promote this notion of, we have capacity in our system.
That's the key. We have
Because,
the capacity.
because frankly, it might also, shouldn't say might, if we can do what we hope to do, we can help offset some of this increase if we've got more users.
Well, and that's the key. I mean, basically, if you're just an example, if the rates were gonna go up 20%, if we increase the users by 20%, it's null and void. The goal is,
Exactly.
these things all go together, and we do have to work towards accomplishing that.
Yeah,
Exactly.
And Mike did bring that up at the budget committee on behalf of the economic development committee, and it's just, trying to increase users, and I think that's been a goal of the town for a long time. I just don't want to get into a long discussion on who can afford what for rates.
Sure, understood. Understood.
But thank you, Tom.
Yeah, I mean,
And once,
Thanks for bringing that up.
but this is a big step forward, as you know, for water quality, which also will help out economic.
Oh, no
development.
question. The
Yeah.
project, the project is essential. It has to be.
Yes.
There's no question about that. I hope no one would argue with that. With the need for the project is critical.
This is one more step of trying to move forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, to follow up on what Tom just said, the question is a chicken or an egg. So if we announce rate increases that are dramatic in a competitive market for commercial investment, they won't come is the problem. So it's not just that it's nuanced and connected. It's clearly, it can be destructive. So that's what the concern is.
And I think we're all aware of that. And I think the two are not married together, so the project just, has to happen regardless. Does anyone have other questions, comments?
The only thing I wanted to mention,
Oh, I think
Fair.
Stella has something.
oh, sorry, go
I
ahead.
just wanted you to repeat the date of the deliberative session and the special town meeting.
The deliberative session is on August 24th, and it's set for 9 AM. Actually, in this location,
Saturday.
on Saturday, it's a Saturday, and Tuesday, September 24th is the town meeting vote.
Thank you.
And those will all be published after tonight.
Yes, and so, and Chet is also going to be publishing information, on the website and our newsletter to get this information out for the rest of the town that's not here, so hopefully it'll will vote on the 24th.
Just a comment on Scott's comment on needing to improve the quality of the water. I'm 100% with you on that, but it's all going to, also going to improve water pressure, right, John?
Exactly. That's right. Your A outlet is up on the top of the hill, we'll have a whole new system. And that's exactly, that was part of the whole plan.
You can use one thing in the house, put the water on it, nothing else. Like, if you're gonna do the dishes, you can't do anything else.
When this is done, hopefully you'll have to hang on
No,
tight to your water
hopefully.
glass.
I want to do everything down.
The only thing I wanted to just draw your attention to was in red, we put adding the and SRF state revolving fund principal forgiveness. Because that, they don't like to be called grants. So that's the only thing that's different from what the budget committee approved last week is that modification, and the budget committee will be setting up a subsequent meeting after the deliberative session for any little modifications like this that they will revote.
Does the budget committee have to meet and revote prior to that? Though,
No, they-
since the language has changed in them.
No, I had sent the request when we had the conversation, because John Bergeron had sent it, and I sent it to our attorney. He said, no, it's a good idea just to have it right after. And they basically are going to give their opinion on the modifications. They've already voted 8-0 on this in general. And
So now they'll just have to vote
They
to
gotta give
accept
amendments.
it as.
Whatever's
as
amendments, right?
The state wants us to use that terminology. They've come back to me in chat, and they basically said, you use this or else. Because in what it is, it gives them the flexibility to give us more. And I think Chet expressed that. So we're early in the curve. They have $98 million sitting down in Concord. So that hopefully they'll give us more, and that's the whole plan. There's 3 small towns right around us that they basically gave 100% because we're early in the process. And we're kind of hoping for that, but we can't say that in a meeting, I mean, basically. So that's, being early in the process kind of helps us along.
Excuse me, this is Claude Lemoy.
Odd.
I've been trying to, through chat to get a question in, but I'm not getting a response.
You've been doing what?
Chat.
Wait,
I've been trying,
Actually, Monica monitors the system. I don't have it.
I know that. I'm just saying I tried. So pardon me for interrupting this way by verbally. I do have a comment. First of all, I'll say I do support the project. There's no question about that. So my comment has nothing to do with being, with detracting from the project or the vote or anything. My comment or question is about the exact wording in the proposed warrant article. I believe the exact wording says that there would be $690,000 being authorized for the town to bond. And I'm okay with that because I've heard tonight that the repayments of that bond would come from water and sewer fees over the next 20 or 30 years. I heard that tonight, but those words are not in the warrant article. And I'm thinking about the voter who walks in a voting booth in September and sees that the town is being asked to authorize a $690,000 bond and thinking it's going to hit them in their tax pocketbook. Should that $690,000 bond repayment be earmarked in the words of the article as to be repaid via water and sewer fees?
Well, the only issue is that the townspeople are obligated to the 690,000, whether or not we're gonna charge it to the fees. So at the end of the day, they're the guarantors. But they will be, the payments would be included in the sewer fees, but if some reason, you know, that became a problem, the town is ultimately responsible.
I do understand that. Isn't it still possible to indicate that the plan is to repay the bond via water and sewer fees?
But we would definitely put that in the information that's around it, like, you know, when there's the section where, in the town report, when you're putting in your warrant articles, there's explanations for each one, and that would be in the explanation. This was prepared by the attorney that went to the court and is approved this way, and I don't wanna upset that apple cart if I can help it. But I will ask the question.
So you said what town, you said in the town report, what town report? There won't be one in
Not
September.
for this, I'm saying in your standard town report, you have your warrant articles.
Well, yeah.
And then there's an explanation that goes with each one of them. We would
For
then.
the
be-
March, yeah, for the March, town meeting that works, but I don't know how that would work this time.
Well, because we will be putting this out on the website and in the emails to everybody that this is the explanation of it. These are some of the facts that go with it. And that where this funding is coming from. So that will be part of the explanation. Yeah, it won't be in an official town report document. But we can create handouts at the deliberative session, and then we will also be emailing it and blasting it everywhere we can.
Okay, so again, please understand my motivation. I want the average voter to be comfortable to approve this and say yes, rather than be concerned that they're being hit in the pocketbook yet again. So the more ways we can get that information out to all the voters, the better.
I agree.
Not many people come to deliberative sessions. I'd be surprised if you'll get 20 people at this deliberative session.
When you go to vote, your warrant articles many times will have parentheses at the bottom with that explanation. How the money's raised. It can be done the same way on this.
Well, that's what I'm asking. Can we do something like that? That's all.
Yes, we can do that. I don't want to put it into the article language, but we can do that supplementally, yes.
I just want to be sure that every voter sees that and realizes that the plan, I understand about the town being the final guarantor. As long as they know the plan is to use. Yeah. All right.
I know that's. a
Say
little-
source.
That's a little different though, because it says, you know, it will come from this or no, it will raise taxes by X amount. But it won't actually raise taxes because it comes from that water and sewer fund. So Claude, what I'm hearing Chet say is he's going to put the information out there and he'll ask the attorney. And we'll take that direction.
I appreciate you taking my comment into consideration. Thank you.
Right?
Two things. One is and that third line, is it supposed to be? Okay.
And actually, the interesting thing is when you go to the one that was actually with the court, it has for some reason, somewhere in the translation of copying and pasting.
It wasn't Freudian or anything.
Yeah, no, somewhere it picked up something.
And the other part of the question is, in light of what Claude asked for, was there any consideration of doing this as a revenue bond? I mean, you could have done it as a revenue bond from ratepayers.
There was not at this time. I mean, because it has to go to, the town has to guarantee it. It wasn't anything that was brought up to me, and this has all happened in the last couple of months, so.
Okay, well, the law in New Hampshire allows for revenue bonds.
Okay. Well, yeah, and it may be that we take it out that way. I mean, it says we can acquire bonds. We can see which method we want to go for that. It's just the general bond is what it says, so. Well, I can ask that question as well. Negotiate such bonds.
Are there any other questions? All right, seeing none, I will move to close. Do we vote before we close the public hearing or after?
No, after.
I'll move to close the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, is Stephen allowed to vote remotely?
I mean, I don't know if it counts, but he voted.
Thanks, Stephen. Okay, so I will move that we add this warrant article to our special town meeting.
The September 24th special town meeting for the water bond.
That's what I made the motion for, Roger.
I will second that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, and then it's 6:25, I will move to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all right,
Taking
thank you.
the rescue boat with me home in case I gotta